mentioned Cleveland saw a drop
Yep.
in violent crime last year compared to the pandemic years, including homicides, non-fatal shootings, car thefts are down as well. What programs do you think are working and which ones need work?
It's not just one program. When we say as an administration, we are taking an all-of-government approach, we mean it, because that's what it takes in this moment to fight violent crime and keep our residents safe and secure when they walk our streets. I would say a couple things. One of the biggest issues that we inherited was this challenge around attraction and retention. And for folks that don't know this, in 2022, the city of Cleveland was ranked in the bottom third statewide in police pay. If you wanted to join the police academy as a new cadet, you were barely making minimum wage. If you wanted to be a member of our police department, you couldn't have a beard, couldn't wear ball caps, couldn't have tattoos. And so we had to do a lot of things to change the culture of our police department to attract and retain new officers. So first thing we did was we got to work on the police pay issue. And it's pretty rare to have a mayor that can call the police union president and have a good working relationship. But as a son of a cop, I know how important it is to make sure that the men and women of our police department have what they need to fight crime and do their jobs. So in just 3 years, we boosted police pay by 34%. Now we're in the top third statewide. We've had a major issue where we have illegal crime guns flowing into our streets. And so we got to work. We called the former head of ATF, Steve Dettelbach, and we brought to Cleveland our first ever crime gun intelligence center, where we're using data, technology, new intelligence and partnerships with U.S. attorneys and marshals, and we're getting illegal guns off our streets. And because of this new partnership, we now have a nearly 90% homicide solve rate in the city of Cleveland. 90% homicide solve rate. But it's not just about law enforcement. We needed to do a better job of investing in violence prevention initiatives in our city. And what I'm so upset about right now, after hearing that news from the DOJ, folks like Maisha Crow, who leads the Cleveland Peacemakers Alliance, their funding could go away. And they do so much good work to stop crime before it starts in our streets. So we put $10 million of work to play to create the first ever Neighborhood Safety Endowment Fund, where we're investing in violence prevention efforts to really address violent crime in our city.
As you know, as County Executive Ronay knows, there's a discussion now in the Cuyahoga County Council about eliminating funding for sheriff's deputies who patrol downtown Cleveland. What do you think about that?
It's the wrong move. Last time I checked, Cleveland was still a part of Cuyahoga County. And so goes the city, so goes the region. And the county really stepped up in the summer of 2023 after we had that mass shooting in the Warehouse District. We are working to fight crime, not just in downtown, but all across the city. I know the business community supports this work. The county executive supports this partnership. And it's critical that we have county leadership and county council recognize that the city of Cleveland is still part of Cuyahoga County and a key driver of jobs and prosperity in our region.
The consent decree is 10 years old this year. The latest report from the Monitor, which I believe came out last week, says that the city has improved in key areas, including the use of force, but also said the city's new strategy, this is what the Monitor said, new strategy to focus on the work of the Monitor rather than devote all resources on compliance was a problem. How do you think the city is doing when it comes to the consent decree? And do you agree with Bernie Moreno, Senator Bernie Moreno, who has suggested that it's time for the consent decree to go away?
Let me say this. I think we've made remarkable progress over the last 10 years with the consent decree. If you look at the training, the culture, and the mentality of our officers now than when it was in 2014, it's a completely different department. And one of the things that we uncovered 3 years ago was we as a city really didn't have an all-of-government approach to be compliant with the consent decree. So we brought in Dr. Leah Anderson from St. Louis, who has really helped us have an all-of-government approach, the first ever independent police accountability team inside the mayor's office. Under her leadership and the chief's leadership, we have now achieved nearly 70 upgrades to the decree over the last 3 years. And so the progress has been made, but I will say this, the DOJ has to stop moving the goalposts, has to. We've spent over $40 million in 10 years on the consent decree. So we want to make sure that the monitor gives us a clear methodology and a clear end date to say when we can be compliant. Now, once we are compliant, we still have work to do to make sure that those reforms are sustained to ensure we're still building trust between police and residents.
And compliance, in your mind, is how far away?
I think 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years.